I've always been looking like where these white spots on the landscape were. I've been looking out there and I've seen like, okay, we've pretty much traveled all places on our planet. We've traveled to the moon and so on. And then I realized at the kid that the blank spots are actually in our minds. It's us not understanding how our own minds actually tick, how intelligence is actually working. And understanding that a tiny bit better is something that's probably going to keep me busy for the rest of my academic career, and something that I also find very fulfilling. Because if you have a computer which you buy as a super dumb box and it can just learn, this is almost like a miracle. See, when we trained Stable Diffusion, this model that can turn ideas into pictures, we were just feeding it training data. We were just feeding it images. But suddenly, something new emerged that we were not foreseeing. It started to learn reflections of mountains in a lake. It started to learn shadows of trees, just a bunch of images. And these concepts started to emerge. And that made me wonder, what would happen if the AI would be able to have new knowledge emerge? See, this goes far beyond images. If we're looking where AI is now making a big splash, if we're looking in medicine, for instance, where new drugs are promised to be sort of developed with that, I see that as the stepping stone that an entire new economy, an entire new society can be built upon. But only if we control this AI.
That as an object moves farther away, people have sought to make
My name is Björn Ommer. I'm a professor at LMU Munich and I'm holding an AI chair for computer vision here at LMU Munich, and I'm a PI at the Munich Center for Machine Learning. Artificial intelligence has still advanced quite a bit over the last couple of years, but it's still profoundly limiting in the efficiency, in what I would actually call true intelligence. Because true intelligence is actually getting to the point very quickly, grasping an idea very quickly, and not demanding endless amounts of training and endless amounts of training data. Wouldn't it be great to just change that? To have an AI which can, without being overwhelmed with lots and lots of data, grasp something? I believe that this would have profound implications. It would not require that much data. It would not require these enormous amounts of compute, which only the biggest of tech companies have available. And it would allow small research labs, small companies to actually own and train such an AI. And with that, I see a way towards democratizing artificial intelligence, something that I in my lab have always been pushing for. Making AI so small and at the same time so powerful that you can personally own it, that you can run it on consumer hardware that you own, your own mobile phone, without having to send this data over onto proprietary hardware of some company out on a foreign terrain where you can't control what they're doing with your data, how they're training with your data. Because this training data is going to become the new oil that's driving this economy. And you want to be sovereign over what's happening with that. We were coming out of an age where it was hard to just know where something stands, where you needed to travel around the world to just access a library or wherever that information is. Now it's pretty much all there at your fingertips. It's just that we cannot get to the true knowledge underneath. And generative AI is holding the key in the hand to bring all of that information together and have new knowledge emerge, something for me as a scientist that is my daily life. And having an AI actually empower us in doing that, empowering our own decisions, that is something that is, I believe, empowering our society and ourselves. And that means that we need to be able to control the AI, control the way that it's actually making and informing our decisions, and be in charge of where and how our data is going to be processed. Because one thing is clear, either we control the AI or it's going to control us.